A very good afternoon, everyone. I would request each one of you to kindly settle down. We are starting off this session in less than 30 seconds from now. I would request all of you to kindly cooperate and please be seated, especially to the people on the left side of the hall. We could see a lot of you standing still. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our next keynote speaker, Mr. BVR Subramaniam, IAS, Chief Executive Officer, NITI Ayog. To kindly join us on stage, ladies and gentlemen, please do put your hands together and welcome Mr. BVR Subramaniam, who's the IAS, to deliver the keynote. Niti Ayog, to give the keynote address by Mr. BVR Subramaniam, please. Clapping is absolutely free of cost, so please do put your hands together. I know all of you have had your yummy, delicious lunch, but it's time to get that energy high now.
Good afternoon, friends. I thank my dear friend Ramana Reddy for giving me this chance to come to Bengaluru to address the Skill Summit. You know, I've been in the Mussoorie Academy for 5 years, where IAS officers and other civil servants are trained. And the session just after lunch is called the death session. People's stomachs are full, the eyelids are heavy, and getting people to be awake for whatever time it is just after lunch is not the easiest exercise. All the same, I'll make my best effort. So I don't have a presentation. And I was here in the morning and hearing three wonderful ministers who were very, very articulate in the way they are trying to address the skill gap and the skill challenge in Karnataka. And I think it was a lovely exposition they gave. What I would like to focus on is actually, I'll try to, in my brief talk about three large areas. One is, where are we as a nation in India? And what does it mean when we want to go forward? The second thing is, what is technology doing to a large sectors of our economy and to our employment scenario? And then I'll end up with, what do we need to do in skilling? Why I'm saying this and I'm building up is, skilling is somehow still treated as some kind of an extracurricular activity, and I think that's the root of the problem. I mean, skilling is not seen as a part of education. If education is not skilling, then what is skilling? So I think we need to start thinking about it, and that's where I land. So let's come back to where we are. We are India, the fourth largest economy in the world. The finance minister was saying yesterday, in 2 years' time, we'll be the third largest economy. Something to be proud of. And by 2047, we have a national goal to become a developed nation. That means a $30 trillion economy. We are targeting an $18,000 per capita income. Highly commendable goals. And what is it that is expected to power it? It's India's demography. The large, young, vibrant population is expected to power it. But the population on its own is not going to power it. It's got to be powered by a population which is also skilled, employable, and having productive livelihoods. So I think the two things have to be seen in combination. Before we go ahead, let me tell you, India is an inflection point in its growth trajectory. I keep repeating, this is an important inflection point. I've spent my career, 35 years as a bureaucrat, tackling problems of poverty, hunger, ignorance, disease, famine, shortages. That's what the whole country spent their entire time on. That's what governments were meant to do. Even now, that's what we think is the major challenge of government. For whatever it is worth, those problems are largely problems of the past. Problems of basic services, basic access to education, healthcare, connectivity, road, water supply, electricity, telecom, banking. I think those problems are largely resolved or actually going to be resolved in a year or two. The question then arises, what next? Most nations at that point have actually had a transformative change, and they've moved on to a very fast growth trajectory. And if you do the right things, you actually accelerate and become developed in a matter of 20, 25 years. I mean, this is a story that has happened around the world. And India is at that inflection point. It's that cusp, which if we take advantage of, as Shakespeare said, there comes a tide in the affairs of man, which when taken in its flood, leads to glory. We are at that point. And that is not just because of one reason. There are many things going in India's favor. Firstly, demography. It's tremendously in India's favor. We are the world's largest nation as far as population goes. We'll continue to be that. But more importantly, we are a very young nation. We have a median age of 29. Our neighborhood, the big neighbor on the other side, has the median age of 39. United States is 38. And the good thing is, 25 years from now, we'll continue to be a young nation. We will still be in 2047 a country whose median age will be about 35, 36, which is not very old. So we are continuing to be a young nation, which means we are going to be the most vibrant source of working manpower in the world for the next 25 years. Out of 1.4 billion people who are there in India, we have a workforce of about 1.04 billion. That means 2/3 is our workforce. This is the largest proportion that is there in the world today. And the good thing is, not only that leads to a very low dependency ratio. Dependency ratio is the number of people who are dependent on the people who are working. It's less than 30%. We can actually continue to maintain this. Our workforce is going to peak around 1.1 billion in about 10, 15 years. Out of all the people who are going to join the workforce in the next 20, 25 years, 1/4 of them are going to be from India. So you can see the potential that is there. So that's one very, very big factor in India's favor. There are many other factors. Geopolitics is favoring India. India is seen as a friendly nation. So people want India to succeed. Other countries have problems with each other. We don't have problems with most big nations. The second thing is, technology is actually in our favor. It's in our favor because technology is a disruptor. You got AI, you got quantum, they're all going to disrupt the status quo. Status quo always benefits incumbents. And when you have a disruption favors people who are not an incumbent. So countries which want to grow fast have always used technological, changes to actually jump forward. So be it AI, be it quantum, be it even climate change, which is going to usher in a whole range of new technologies. India is at a point where you can use that to leverage, jump many stages of development, bypass many stages of growth and go to a higher level. So that stands the larger picture that India is in a very sweet spot. If we take advantage of it, I think we can actually make the future possible. But, and that's a very big but, it's not automatic. It's not going to happen if we sit on our, chairs and, have a cup of coffee and congratulate ourselves. It has to be accompanied by a lot. The biggest thing is we need to invest in this huge demographic dividend which we talk of. The dividend can become a curse if not invested in. We need people who are educated, we need people who are skilled, and people who are productively employed. If more people carry headloads, you're not going to grow fast. And you're not going to become a developed nation. And that's something. And if you look at statistics, our picture is not very bright. If you go to our factories and our workforce, statistics about India say that only 4% of our workforce is skilled. The average is 80 to 90% around the world. You're expecting this workforce to produce the most complicated products that are there in the world? Not with that kind of skilling, not with that kind of education. So, what happens is, if you do not have a well-educated, well-skilled workforce, you are going to have a lot of people in low-paying jobs. And you're not going to have this vision of a Viksit India or a Viksit Karnataka or whatever state you're in actually fructify. What does that mean? Which means, how do we invest in education and skills? There is one big problem, which I began and alluded to in the middle. We always look at skilling as something opposed to education, or skilling as an add-on to education. We are looking at skilling as something, as an extracurricular activity outside of education. There are tons of colleges and states in the country, including education institutions at the school level, where skilling is a sixth subject or the seventh subject, not the core five. It doesn't work that way. Then it's given exactly that kind of attention. And I think that's very, very important. If you want to become the global talent capital, and that's the word I was hearing, we need to integrate education and skilling, and it's to be done very, very early on. I mean, otherwise you look at it, we always have this educational stream, vocational stream. We were hearing in the morning, one minister was talking about the German model. Germany doesn't have something called skilling separate and education separate. It's perfectly integrated. And at what class does skilling begin in Germany? Class 7 and 8. It's actually a part of the schooling system. We have actually sat and analyzed, and it's not only Germany. There are fantastic skilling ecosystems in the world. Germany has it, Australia has it, even a small country like Singapore has it. Skilling begins in school as a normal subject. If you don't have that, people will still see skilling as a second-hand activity. Then what do you do in schools? It's important. We have something called GEAS, general employability and entrepreneurial skills. This is something fundamental. That is the first skill that every child should have by the time they are in class 8, 9, 10. GES is now accepted in our national education policy. It's there in our national skill framework. GES skills are about using computers, having good communication skills, having good knowledge of basic mathematics. If that is not there, I can assure you any amount of skilling you try to pump in later is going to be a complete waste. I've actually talked to people who set up Foxconn factories. They say we don't need people who are skilled. We want people who can understand what we are telling them, and we want people who can do basic mathematics. They should be able to do addition, subtraction. The rest of the skilling we'll do on the shop floor. Big companies do the skilling in-house. They don't need outside skilling. But what do they need? Basic, what I call GEES, general employment and employability and educational and entrepreneurial skills. We don't even have them in our curriculum. I mean, are our children in classes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 taught basic communication skills? How good are they in maths? You just see the reports by Acer and others on how good are math skills for children in class 5. Half of them fail class 3 maths. Class 8 children, half of them fail class 5 maths. Now with that, the rest of the employment spectrum is closed. Very often when we think of skilling, we are looking at engineering graduates, are their skills adequate for employment, etc. Let me tell you, engineering graduates in India are going to be a minor fraction of our total workforce. They were never going to exceed more than 1%. I am talking of the other 99% of people in India. Half of them work in agriculture. Another half of them, or 40%, work in basic services, healthcare, education, gig workers, the whole host of people who are your informal workers, electricians, plumbers, mechanics. They need these basic skills. That's the first thing. The second thing is vocational education needs to be integrated with the schooling system early on. Today even departments are different. If departments are different, it doesn't matter you make people sit together, but they are still two different departments. Skilling has to be integrated into the schooling curriculum class 4, 5, 6 onwards. They first do some GES skills. From class 6, 7, they should do what is called tasting. Just test 1 credit, 2 credits of some vocational thing. By class 9, 10, they should be willing to do 1 or 2 courses only on skilling. It could be a whole range of things. And a lot of skills are not necessarily IT related. A lot of good work is happening in Karnataka. I was seeing, all the stuff happening in the tool room training centers, what KDEM is doing. But everything is not about data analytics, and everything is not only about AI. It's also about how do I use tools, how do I work with my hand. A lot of skills are still going to be, hand driven. You need to introduce them. Then comes the third thing. You need integrated vocational schools on a massive scale. We should have schools in class 10, 11, 12, which run both full academic programs, full vocational programs, and a mixture of both simultaneously. So people could do 100% academic, they could do 100% vocational or a mix of the two. By the way, that's what Germany does. And then comes the next level. After that, people can split into various careers. And I think that's very, very important. People waste a lot of time doing wrong courses. It's a wastage of money, it's a wastage of time. Why should I do 5 master's courses to figure out what is my final career? I should be able to figure that out during my education itself. So it requires 2-3 things. A, equivalence. We all need a degree in our pocket because that becomes a basic qualification. Why don't we recognize credits across all educational systems? Why can't you have some vocational work which is counted as a credit in a college? Why can't you do some internship somewhere else, it counted as a credit in your school? So I think it's important. Why can't I do class 12 only with vocational subjects and go for medicine? After all, I'm going to cross a NEET exam, right? Nobody's going to give me admission without NEET. If I can clear NEET without doing a class 12 biology and I've done it some vocational, what is wrong? I obviously know enough biology to clear NEET, right? So we need to change our entire equivalence pathways. So vocational, educational, ITI, skilling. We should make the certificates equivalent among each other. We should be able to move between one to the other. You see, I'm now talking in Karnataka. It's probably not the most aspirational thing here. But if you were talking in Uttar Pradesh, every child there wants to be a civil servant, want to be an IAS officer or a police officer. If you tell that child in class 10 that you go only for skilling and you do vocation, he said, no, I don't want to miss my chance of being an IAS officer. So don't cut off that opportunity. Let him not waste 8 years of his life just preparing for the IAS. Let him do vocational and say you get a degree after that. Try for the IAS after getting a vocational degree and have a subject there on vocational. If they qualify, well and good. Hardly a fraction of a percent are going to get into civil services. But in the process, they have not wasted 5 years. They would be learning skills which are going to get them employment. That's very, very important. That brings us to a very important thing, and we have done actually surveys in NITI. What is it that makes people take up vocational and skilling professions? It's very important. Often it's hereditary. Let me be very clear about it. But more important, there is no counseling in India. And I think that's another success of Germany. From class 8 onwards, students are told you will not become an engineer or a doctor. Your academic background is not going to take you there. If you are not told that early on in life, you will keep struggling to become something where you are going to be a failure. Number one. Number two, you are not going to be an engineer or a doctor, fine. Then you end up being a BA or a BCom and then struggling, and then you will end up doing skilling courses and MBAs and then MComs or whatnot, which are not going to take you far. Where is the counseling going on to that kid saying that you better go to an ITI or a diploma? You learn far more than if you are actually going to do a BA or a BCom. There is no counseling. Because these decisions are not taken by governments. These decisions are taken by the student and their parents. Who takes a decision which course will a kid do? The parents and the kid. Nobody else. So in a country of our size, 1 billion people are taking 1 billion decisions what they will study. It is not going to happen because we have a great policy or whatever. There has to be individual conversations to 1 billion people saying this is possible, this is not possible. So where do you find people going into these skilling courses maximum? Wherever they're actually seeing opportunities in front of their eyes. So it will happen in Bengaluru because people can see jobs. So, but if I go into some interior buster and say do skilling, he says, where will I do if I do skilling? I don't see anything happening out of skilling. So nobody will pick up skilling. Although that's probably the best future they have if they do it. So you need a heavy investment in counseling, which means literally every school should have a career counselor, every college should have a career counselor. If you don't do that, all this investment in skilling and all is going to be duplication of whatever is happening. Because people will pick up the thing for the wrong reasons. They do it because they failed elsewhere. I think that's the wrong reason. Very early on, if you realize that, look, if you are somebody in Pune and you actually do a good ITI course, you learn 4 to 5 times that of an engineer working in a software company. If I join, say, Bajaj Auto or something, I get 1,00,000 rupees as a salary on a shop floor. The kids are not told early on that your earning potential is far more if you do this rather than that. And they spend their time thinking, because what we say in Hindi, bhed chal, like sheep, we all go together. And we think everybody is going, but you see, there's only a few people, early sheep, who get something, the rest of the sheep don't get anything, So I think counseling is very, very integral. The other part is, we also think skilling is only something which is for school age or college going children. I mean, skilling is a lifelong affair. And there I noticed that Karnataka has done a lot of good work. I've heard the words being repeated, upskilling, reskilling, etc. But they can't end up being words. I'm a 60-year-old, can I walk into, say, an ITI and say, look, there's some new machine tool which has come. Can I do a 2-week course where I can learn about this new lathe machine? Probably no. There is nothing in our system which is actually addressing these needs. There is a new way of repairing a tire puncture comes up. Who is going to train a mechanic on how to do that new type of tire puncture? There is none. So we are actually putting people in silos as if skilling is something separate. Actually, it is integral to education, and it should be thrown open to people of all ages. I mean, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years, they should be able to do it. Lastly, the point which one of the ministers said, it's about international pathways. I think again, your KSDC, higher education, they're doing a lot of good work. But I've seen the numbers. The numbers need to be not in thousands, but in millions. And the fact is, the opportunity is there. The world is in a population decline. This is a separate problem we won't talk today. For the first time in mankind's history, the world's population is going to decline. The world has never faced such a situation. 100 years from now, we'll be 1 billion people less. What does it mean for the world? We still don't know. But the point is, for the time being, we are in a sweet spot. We have the people to supply. The question is, are they ready? Are they workforce ready? Some good initiatives are there. I've heard about nursing. I myself am familiar. The British come straight to Karnataka and recruit nurses and take them there. A lot of things are happening, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's huge. So what we need is actually a survey of what is the demand for various jobs and skills outside, and then make people here job ready. I've heard language skills being done. I've heard about technical skills, and I've also been told about pre-departure skills. So I think that's a lot of important stuff that is being done. But I think the range of job opportunities that are going to be there are going to be huge. And I think a more investment in international pathways is going to be of great importance. Another problem in the skilling setup is there is an information asymmetry. Those who have jobs and those who seek jobs, and what is the skill matching that needs to be done. I think there are not enough avenues to do that matching. I think governments are making some efforts. But let me tell you, government is not the best entity in doing these things. I think that's huge scope for the private sector to get in. Platforms where you can actually match what is the requirement of skills in the employment world, so that younger people can start actually training themselves in those. I think that's a huge opportunity. Two last areas. We forget 50% of the population is women. And when we talk about all these things, we talk in a very gender neutral way. Women have a separate set of challenges when they talk about education as well as skilling. Even more so when it is about reskilling, upskilling. And women have a separate challenge which is completely unique. Half the women in the world drop out of the workforce and want to come back to the workforce. There is nothing for them in India, at least. I've quit the job because I've become a mother. 2 children, 8 years later, I want to come back into the workforce. World has moved on. I need to get myself skilled. Again, do you have any skilling for them? I think that's a huge workforce which needs to be trained. And we have heard about the gig and platform workers. Karnataka has been a leader in many ways. So you're doing well. Now I'll come to the last issue. This is about technologies and how they're going to affect, how they are changing the world we are living in. Vikasit Bharat will happen not because of demography, because populations don't automatically raise incomes. You need productivity. And productivity comes by adopting technology in our processes. Our workforce, our factory workers, our service sector workers, all have to imbibe new ways of working using more and more technology. If somebody in another country on the same job gets 100 times what the same person gets in India, it's because that person produces 100 times more in the same time. It's simple. That's basic math, nothing else. And the question is, how does that happen? Which basically means you have to bring technology heavily into every activity in the economy. Be it agriculture, be it manufacturing, be it every part of services. We need to modernize and get more tech. But how does that happen? It's not about just new machine. Niti works a lot. We have a Frontier Tech Hub. We just released a report on frontier technology in agriculture day before yesterday. It's about precision agriculture, precision supply of seeds, all the way from planning for the crop till post-harvest. Technology can intervene at 8-10 stages and make a huge difference, raise outputs. It looks very nice on a drawing board. It looks very good for a startup. But who on earth is finally going to do it? It's the farmer on the field. And if that person is not skilled in all of these, it's not going to happen. So, you need to be working on training 50 crore farmers in the latest technologies. Otherwise, that agriculture miracle is not going to happen. It will all be nice laboratories in big cities or just in the neighborhood. If you want to penetrate this large landmass, which is India, you need a massive skilling program just of farmers in imbibing technology. I'll come to the other part. That is the informal sector. The actual number of people who work in the informal sector in India is 49 crores. Bulk of the people in industry in India are informal. They're not formally employed. And if you want to become very productive, and they have to have a per capita income which is of that of a developed country, you have to have advanced manufacturing. That again requires skilling. That means you need a separate skills program just to upskill the informal workers. And it's not skilling in terms of new machine. It's about bringing technology so that you do your job better. I mean, a cook in the house who wants to make, I'm in Bangalore, so you want to make a aloo paratha, can they use technology to get the latest input on how do I make an aloo paratha better? Or if you're a carpenter, how do I get a new design for a table or a bed? And how can I do it faster? And technology can help you a lot. How do we get that in? So we actually need a skills mission just to train the entire informal workforce. They need to be mapped and they need to be brought on to the latest platforms of working and training. Otherwise, you'd see the electrician who comes to your house to repair your thing. He comes with a screwdriver and a tester. He works the way he did 50 years ago, He'll switch off the mains, put something here, put something there. That's not how it happens in a modern economy if that person has to be a highly paid person. It has to be far more modern. If your house is supposed to be full of IoT and gadgets which are run by internet, that electrician who comes to your house also needs to know all that. If otherwise, he'll be a low paid electrician. And I can repeat this ad nauseum irrespective of the profession. So you need a massive skills mission. Come back to core, which is education. Look at the disruption, and now that since I'm in Bangalore, that AI is doing. AI is not going to remove jobs. AI is going to remove roles. Some tasks will be removed, but it will create new tasks. We actually did a mapping. There are certain jobs which were actually not available or being asked for 6 months ago. They are now the top searched jobs on the internet. And I don't even know the words. There's nothing common. These jobs didn't exist 6 months ago. They have come up and people are asking, do people have this skill? That kind of stuff. It's not the usual coders and all that. So there will be a complete change in skill profile. Do nothing. And Niti has estimated, we lose 40 lakh jobs. If we do the right thing, we actually add 60 lakh jobs. The question is very simple. Do nothing, minus 4 million. Do something, it's plus 6 million. So it can actually be a big job creator. Going further, the whole issue about AI, it is now becoming so integral to our education. We actually need an AI talent mission where you embed AI in the entire education system, beginning wherever, class 4, 5, 6 onwards, into your college system as regular courses. Because you can't ignore it, and it's not something you'll pick up later. So that's something we're also working on. So this is the large picture I'm laying out. But going back to the first thing, skilling, integrate it with education, start early, see that there is complete interoperability between different education systems. So that it doesn't matter, I am a bachelor's in skilling. Today such degrees don't exist. But I know some states have done so. Giving a counter example, Maharashtra has done an excellent work where they have actually declared equivalence between some ITI degrees and normal college degrees. Because everybody dreams of becoming a government clerk. So don't cut off that dream, but if he doesn't get it, he's still done something useful. They have to do equivalence, and most important, counseling. Counseling early on and making people realize this is best for you in terms of income potential. Other countries have job surveys. They keep telling you which profession will get you and what's the demand. India doesn't have all that. So what happens is people aspire for something based on storytelling, gut feeling, not data. So counseling helps get over that, make people right choices early on. I mean, it's shocking to see the number of people who are what we call in India, about 5% people are what we call NEET, not in employment, education or training. These are people who are working age and doing nothing. They've just dropped out of the system from the workforce. They're not even looking for jobs. Simple reason is they've done the wrong education, nobody has counseled them, they've failed in a job, and they don't know what to do next. And now they're 35, 40, they think their life is over. I think that's a disaster. We should avoid that. Proper counseling, you cut that out, you can do much better. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
I would request you to kindly stay back, sir. I would request all of you to kindly do put your hands together and welcome Dr. E.V. Ramana Reddy, who's our IAS, Chairman, Karnataka Skill Development Authority, to kindly join us on stage and hand over the memento to our keynote speaker. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you so much, sir. Let's welcome the next fireside chat dignitaries on this stage. Please do put your hands together and welcome our speakers, Dr. Abhilasha Gaur, Chief Executive Officer, NASSCOM IT ITS SSC, to kindly join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please do put your hands together and welcome her on stage, please. Along with her, I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. P.B. Katar, Global Head, Global Engineering Academy, L&T Technology Services, to kindly join us on stage. Please do put your hands together and welcome the gentlemen. And also I would like to invite the moderator for this session, Dr. Madhuri Dubey, Founder and Director, National Skills Network, to kindly join us on stage to moderate this session. The fireside chat topic would be ecosystem synergy, driving skills innovation through collaboration. This session will spotlight how partnerships across government, industry, academia, and social enterprises create synergy in advanced skilling. Over to our moderator, Ms. Madhuri. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. The topic definitely is very interesting, relevant, and something which we should all reflect on. But I feel most of it is already being discussed since morning. So we are taking a bit of a liberty here and trying to relate it to the ground level realities which we face today. So this is to do with, for example, what is the notion of skilling that we all are aware of? Because we know that we have our opinions about skilling and education. Then what is it about talent? Are we aware that how volatile the ecosystem is becoming when it comes to jobs? The two real words are hiring and firing. That's what we hear around us most of the time. So with so many disturbances, disruptions, geopolitical issues, etc., how do we interpret skilling today, and how do we make this ecosystem beneficial to all the stakeholders? And that's where I think the synergies lie. So once again, welcome Dr. Kotur and Dr. Abhilasha. I'm so glad to have this discussion with you. Let me get started by asking you a few questions. So for both of you. So how many times in a day you use the AI productivity tools, and what jobs would have been lost because of this?
Almost 5 to 6 times a day, I must say. And most of the jobs, if I talk about in my work structure, it is half of my EA's job is gone because of these productivity tools. So taking notes, minutizing the minutes, or lot of MIS information for which we used to have people. So I think those are becoming more automated from my part of job.
Okay, thank you. So these are quick questions, so let's hear it from Dr. Kotur.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Maudry and Dr. Abhilasha. May I request all of you to stand up? It's a post-lunch session. Please stand up. So you don't tell me, Dr. Ramana Reddy only not asked me why you are asking as a speaker. Give a round of applause to him. Big round of applause. I'm sure that you have had a... It's a wonderful session you have created, Doctor, and for the government. Don't sit down. Please stand up. So November 1st is Karnataka State Festival, Rajyotsava. And November throughout we drive DNA of Rajyotsava, and Karnataka Skill Development Authority and Karnataka Skill Development Corporation together organizing in the month of Karnataka Rajyotsava for the state of Karnataka, for the state of people in Karnataka, and for all Bengaluru, round of applause. So thank you very much. You can be seated. So I know that I can speak. Otherwise, you will all get into mobile and then forget me and all of us. Thank you very much, Doctor. This is wonderful to have AI. So my friend introduced somebody. AI is amazing intelligence, right? Some people say artificial intelligence. But AI for me is today's essence of what is happening. We have academicians A, industrialist I. So both academia and industry together make AI for this conference, I am sure. But very precisely what you have brought is how many productivity tools you use. About 20,000 AI tools are there, but unfortunately my mobile doesn't have that much of space. So I have to depend only on the data centers. But for making each day very beautiful in the AI world, at least I will go with 5.
Okay.
And ensure that I use each one of them for the multimodal capability, either for communication or curation or design, or making a good conversation with the people who are integral part of the future they are creating for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So both of them are tech experts, as we know, and I can't help starting with this. So now moving on to other quick questions. What was the toughest question a student has asked you in any of your speaking events? To you, Dr. Kotur.
This is very interesting. Students ask, first and foremost, can I get a salary hike in the first month of my joining? Can I get a promotion in the second month of my joining? Third, can you elevate me to C-suite in my third month? And they never miss a chance. Can I switch the job on the fourth month?
Okay.
So that's what I ask.
So Dr. Abhilasha?
Not this much of interesting questions what have been asked to Dr. Kotur. But yes, students still come up and they say that you tell us that AI skills or the generative AI skills, you need to upgrade it almost every quarter or half yearly. And if we can't learn it in the same manner, then should we join the category of NEET, what BVR Subramaniam was also saying, that if we can't compete with AI, then what we should do. So I think, and that's a difficult question also, and I think it's very pertinent also to today's this thing. So the students, when they join, let's say a BTech Computer Science or any graduation program, by the time they'll be coming out after 4 years, will their skills be relevant still? So relevance is one thing. I think it's a very, very difficult thing even by the industries to answer that those skills will be relevant or not after 4 years of completion of degree.
Okay. That's really most important part of the skilling, the relevance aspect of it. And one piece of advice which you wish you hadn't ignored so far in your career.
Can you repeat the question, please?
You said one piece of advice that you would have got, which you today feel you shouldn't have ignored it, probably.
Okay. So, the piece of advice is abundance, but what I feel is, when I taught AI in 93, 94 as a teacher in engineering college, all the data centers, networks, should have been available there, so that I would have never felt that Vikasit Bharat would not have happened in 2047, but have happened by 2025. That was my advice.
And what about you?
So in earlier days, people used to say you need to be jack of all trade and maybe master of none. So I think on very early stage, if somebody would have told me that you need to have jack of all trade, but at least master some, then maybe we need to be in a different space that way.
Yeah. So we get to see from our experts how a bit of their personal lives and the stories around it are all getting unpacked right now, and throughout this session we will get to know more. So now coming back to the theme, to Dr. Abhilasha, what is your interpretation of the theme when we talk about driving skills through, skills innovation through collaboration? Here probably when we talk about innovation, we can't help associating it with technology because these are becoming more or less synonymous. Again, reference to all the talks we had today. Yeah.
So I'll tell you with the help of an anecdote or a story, in that case a small story. So when we are saying that collaboration need to be there, and that's what the last keynote also said, that from a very early age, if we integrate skills with education, that is how will be a roadmap to be a Viksit Bharat also. So in one of the session I was speaking and I said that maybe we can change the ABCD, and literally A for maybe artificial intelligence, B for blockchain, C for cyber security, or D for data science, or I for IoT, let's say. And then you can have a sustainability ABCD and different technical domain. And trust me, it would not be very difficult to tell a 5-year-old child that when you are speaking to Siri or Google or Alexa, so it's machine learning, or when you're moving and the door opens, so that is a sensor, or you put your hands under a tap, the water flows. So what technology is behind it? Maybe on a very basic level. So somebody from the audience stood and said that you are still talking about India, what about Bharat? So do you really think where people don't have access to education and maybe proper internet, do you think that this will work out? And I just asked them that if you remember your ABCD, your alphabets, so what did you learn from the alphabet X? So it was xylophone. At what age in your, you were able to see a xylophone? Or at what age you saw a zebra? But as a 4-year-old child, you were able to relate to them. At least you have a basic understanding. So once a 3-year-old child can understand a xylophone without seeing it, don't you think they'll understand IoT sensor or artificial intelligence? So that kind of collaboration, I think, or that kind of innovation, so we have to open our mind, think something like this. If we really want, and I'm not saying that everybody should become a tech expert. As we said that 50% of the population, more than that, are into different domains. So this ABCD can change as per the different domains, but at least we need to give them a basic understanding of these concepts from a very early age. So for me, this sync or alignment will definitely work as a collaboration for innovation or for Viksit Bharat in that case.
Yeah, so this means we have to catch them young and start early. Yes, Dr. Kotur, so coming to you. Ecosystem is a word I think we hear so often, but then I'm not sure how we interpret this, at every time, because this is such a dynamic word, it keeps changing. So can we hear from you, how would you interpret this in the context of the theme of this discussion?
Thank you, Dr. Madhuri. Ecosystem is in terms of today's skilling world. First, we need to see the building blocks of the ecosystem. First and foremost, any country to be seen as a developed country, the foundation is the education. Therefore, academia comes as a first block. Academic institutions, primary education, secondary. Second, the consumer of the academia, which is industry. And both academia and industry to survive better in the given system, the government policies are important. And then, in order to make government succeed, society is important. And then finally, to make the geopolitical system is also important. The last is today's AI system is also an ecosystem. When government policies enable, industry innovate, academia excellence, and societal empathy, and AI's power, when they meet together, you will see a phenomenal power for the growth engine. Skills are new currency in the progress of the nation, and innovation is its engine. So when you bring all of them, a good equation makes ecosystem synergy, and we can possibly drive the collaboration needed.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear, especially from both of them, about their interpretations of keywords like innovation, collaboration, or ecosystem that we keep hearing most of the time. And often we forget that all these are very interrelated. And what matters most is not just the discussions that happens in forums like this, but what is it that happens on the ground? And how is it that we really actually impacting the youth, or just not the youth, but also those who are already in the job and who want to develop their careers and move forward. So with this, let me move on to asking them a bit about the industry itself. Currently, you know, we talk so much about future-proofing our careers, future-proofing something. So what exactly do you think is future-proofing against the developments? Is it really possible? Do you think it can be done?
Not exactly if you ask me, but we can't just sit back and relax and say that we can't do it. So some steps have to be taken. And I think future-proofing can only happen once we become the lifelong learners.
Yeah.
And that's what we said, that it's not you complete your class 10th or 12th, you reach to a graduation, you get any kind of entrance examination. And once you reach to a final semester, you look out for a job. And if you feel, okay, I have landed into a job as per my choice or not as per my choice, but now I don't think I have to learn. So that is something wrong. And that is what various reports are also coming up, let it be for the future of work, for World Economic Forum, or for Niti Aayog report, which they came up with last month, which said that it is not the age or the designation that will make you sustainable, or for a future-proofing concept, if you call it that way. It is how you are able to converse yourself or align yourself with a change in economy and technology in that case. So even for a farmer or somebody who is working in a logistics supply chain, or even for doctors, so don't you think that even for a doctor, it is important that they understand the data analytics? Or maybe they'll have assistants, with a nursing assistant, they might have a data analytics. It is something like, earlier when we used to go to a doctor, he said, okay, how are you feeling? Okay, I'm feeling fine. I don't know, my symptoms. And he'll prescribe me some things. Now as I informed, even as a patient, if I go to a doctor and tell them, my resting heart rate is this. When I sleep, this is my pulse rate. When I start walking, this is. And if I am having a sugar monitor, the whole day I'll give him so much of data so that it becomes for a doctor. And doctor these days give you your email IDs and say, can you share all this report? And then we'll see how we prescribe the medicine to you. So I think that is one thing which requires for a future-proofing kind of a thing. And few examples like this is like IIT Jodhpur and IIT AIMS Jodhpur. They have clubbed their students together and they are working on wonderful projects there as part of their research projects, where they said our doctor and an engineer, how they can come up with various solutions for healthcare or medtech also in that case. So I think that can be a step for future proofing in that case.
I think that's a really useful kind of a takeaway for us in terms of defining future proofing, because you're also emphasizing on lifelong learning. Do you agree with her? Would you want to add something?
No,
to
I
this?
think possibly future proofing in the context of skill development and Viksit Bharat. So India is blessed with 5 Ds. The demography, I think all have heard about it. Possible young population of 66 million. But at the same time, it's very important that democracy, that's a policy making. The third is diversity. We have a younger, elder, and eldest. All the 5 generations diversity we have. The fourth, the power is a digital power. And ultimately, the 5th power is a deep cultural heritage. When we all practice in true essence, I'm sure that future is now. You need not really struggle to prove it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before we move on to the last round of our discussion, I have some quick questions for you. So any one of you, it's like a quick round again, a rapid round. First, it's about the kind of skilling, particularly pertaining to the sector you both represent. The most overrated or overhyped ITES skill right now?
Prompt engineering. You see a lot of YouTube videos talking about that do prompt engineering, earn 80,000, 1 lakh rupees. I mean, it is just one part of that skill. So I think it is quite overrated because of the social media reels.
Okay. The biggest talent issue right now in the sector?
Biggest?
Talent issue that we are facing?
Biggest talent is how to speak to AI.
Okay. And the shelf life of any ITS skill, is it like 1 week, 6 months, 1 year, or what is it?
Depends on skill to skill, but seeing the kind of emergence into the current industry transformation, the way it is happening, I'll say from an industry perspective, they look for 6 months. From academia perspective, they say we change the syllabus in 4 years.
Now, possibly I will give a different twist.
Yeah.
The C language was developed in 1972. People still use it. In 1979, C++ was developed. People are using it. 1995, Java was developed. People are using it. So mostly if you look at on the lighter note, don't feel bad because industry people are there. We are using everything is very, very old stuff. But what is relevant is our behavior, our mindset, not the technology. If I am ready to win, intensity to win matters most than how many books you referred, how many languages you know. But the language of growth, if you know, any language you can master, any technology you master. That's what I feel.
Yeah, thank you. So to continue with this, and to bring it to the context of the event, we need to also think about making this skill summit very impactful. So let's hear it from our expert. So MOU or actionable game plan, which creates faster change in the ecosystem level?
I think go both. It's very important.
Okay.
I'll say actionable plan should be put first and then we should sign a MOU rather than the other way around.
See, why I contradict with Dr. Abhilasha is a good friend. It's very important. Don't feel bad. See, in earlier days, we all met and planned. Today we are saying, let us plan and meet. Nothing will happen. Better to have both in place.
Okay. The unique skill challenge that tier 2 or 3 cities or towns of Karnataka are facing today?
They have a voice, but there is no place. They have a degree, they don't have a visa to the corporates. They have a courage, but they don't have an attitude to be in right place. But they have everything. I think this workforce should provide the opportunity for them to grow, shine, just like the tech farmer. Thank you very much.
And I'm sure the audience is making a note of this, and all those who are influencers here in the ecosystem, please make a note of what we just heard about helping the state, especially the tier 2 and tier 3 towns and cities. And could there be a special drive to include more women workforce in this sector? Especially,
yes, absolutely.
You are from this Sector Skill Council.
Correct.
Yeah.
And under various DEI initiative also, even NASSCOM is also having a lot of initiatives, supporting these initiatives with the industries, where definitely we understand that for ladies, I mean, they are an important part of our workforce, and a major percentage, almost 26 to 30% of workforce is from the women workforce, what we have, especially in IT and tech industry. So once they go on sabbatical or break, how they have to come back. So Future Skills Prime is one platform with METI, what we are running is one. And various other industry-focused initiatives also. Like recently, few days back, a new initiative has been launched that is called, instead of leadership, it is lead hership. So how maybe she has left her career journey in mid, and when she wants to join back. So there are a lot of initiatives, and definitely this is, you can say, something which we need to continuously keep on doing it in that case.
Yeah, good to know about the gender balance that you are striving for. And next point here is your immediate post-summit ask to KSDC and KSDA, that is the government of Karnataka. What would it be?
No, very important. This is a wonderful initiative. It's a great beginning. I am sure that the place Karnataka gives the impetus to growth. So I am sure that Dr. Abhilasha, we always meet. We have a 264 billion export every year. 60% comes from this wonderful land called Karnataka, right? Out of 3.5 million talent, 2.5 represent Karnataka. And right ecosystem, right investment, right partnership will happen. In my 32 years of corporate life, looking at the contribution to academia and the talent development, roughly about 200,000 young minds from tier 2, tier 3 I onboarded into the corporate. 55% of them are girls. Idea is that my request to Dr. Raman Reddy and the entire team to create the skills, not only technical, domain, tools and certificate, the behavioral skills are very important. If I everything, but my behavioral skills are not good, if I continue to violate traffic and then claim the roads are not good, I throw everything and then it's golden or flower city has become a garbage city. It's not possible. And when you are inside the lift and coming out and people are going inside, allow them to come out first. These are basic skills. So I was talking to somebody, while the technology is a power, it is 80% is visible, but the 20% behavioral skills very important. I think Niti Aayog CEO was mentioning about what skills should go at what time of the world in education system. At home, at office, at corporates, at the society at large. If we build the values first approach, AI first will lead Viksit Bharat 2047. That's what I feel.
Thank you. What about you as Sector Skill Council, if you had a ask to the government of Karnataka?
I'll say as a sector skill council as well as for NASCOM also, that one is definitely applied learning, whatever the kids are learning in different parts of the state. And second, the stackable micro credentials should become compulsory as the credit enabled courses, because we have seen in the country that to give you some percentages also, if a learner or a candidate is enrolling for an online program, for example, or any kind of certification also, so only 28% are able to complete that program. So in case we embed these programs, these micro-credential or stackable credentials into their degree program, then it will become definitely at least 90% in that case. So if we can do that, so I'm not saying as being a democratic country, but some kind of enforcement is definitely required if we have to pave our way for 2047 for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Now, one last quick question before I ask your key takeaways. Yuva Nidhi scheme or skeleton and hackathons, which drives better in outcomes?
So Dr. Madhuri, I will request, because they are all listening to us, let us them ask the question rather than we answering ourselves. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll possibly answer before you go. Otherwise, they'll give a round of applause. That is a signal before our people come and tell us.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two questions from the audience.
We have somebody there.
Yes, sir. Ask the question, not the explanation, please.
There are skilled professors without qualification. Likewise, for collaboration, instead of taking the academia as a collaborator, why you don't take private individuals who are various they can be collaborated and the things can be done. I am Dr. Gopal Singh, teaching economics and management.
We'll have to close.
So one of you can answer. I think we will close it. I think it's very important. UGC has started for industry people who are retired with all the degrees as a professor practice. Similarly, for the professor who are already excelled, like Pitamaha Bhishma. So industry leverages competencies. I think if you have heard clearly when Niti Aayog CEO was speaking about what after the retirement, there is no retirement. We need to reimagine the power of the people who experienced and leverage their power, just like the one question you asked, sir. I'm sure that it will help India grow, shine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I just came to know that we are running short of time, so we will have to close this session right now. And thank you both for sharing your views and answering all the questions so very well. And thank you, audience, and thank you, organizers, for this opportunity. And it's a privilege to be here and share this important moment in the history of Karnataka. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madhuri and Dr. Abhilash.
Thank you so much, Madhuri ma'am. Thank you so much to the speakers as well. To honor them with a small token of appreciation, I would request Dr. E.V. Ramana Reddy, IAS, to kindly join us on stage, who's our chairman, Karnataka Skill Development Authority, to kindly join us on stage and hand over the memento as a token of appreciation to the speakers and the moderator. It was such an insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give one huge round of applause to all the dignitaries on the dais, please. Please do continue. Put your hands together for them one more time. Over to you, Shankar sir. I would request you to introduce and welcome the next speakers for this session.
Yeah, thank you, Lakshmi. Well, we now move on to another important fireside chat, ladies and gentlemen. The next session is about global perspectives, skilling for dignity, equity, and empowerment. And this fireside chat will highlight how skilling initiatives can go beyond economic utility to become pathways for dignity, equity, and empowerment. It's my pleasure to request the esteemed speakers to please come on stage. First of all, Mr. Ashim Burkhardt, the Consul General, Federal Republic for Germany in the states of Karnataka and Kerala. Please put your hands together for Your Excellency, Mr. Burkhardt. Also, our speaker, Ji Sun Song, the Director, South Asia, Human and Social Development Sector Office, Asian Development Bank. And also our moderator, Mr. Deepak Prabhu Matti, the Chief Executive Officer of Cognizant Foundation.
Okay, I can see that.
Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause. And here is an important session, which is social mobility, community resilience, and human development at large, the global perspectives. Straight away, it's over to you, Mr. Deepak Prabhu, to take us through. It's on, I think. It's on. Yeah. Over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this fireside chat on skilling for dignity, equity, and empowerment. According to the Karnataka's Workforce Blueprint 2030, the white paper released yesterday, Karnataka is targeting the creation of 20 lakh new jobs by 2030. While this is great news, we also heard from the Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka yesterday during the inaugural ceremony that women participation in the labor force within Karnataka is about 30%, thus highlighting the need for increasing workforce engagement and, more importantly, skill development to fully realize the potential of this demographic dividend. In fact, I remember meeting Shantamma, a speech and hearing impaired lady in her early 20s, and I was fortunate to meet her a couple of weeks ago. She hails from a small village called Molakalmuru in Chitradurga district, about 8 hours from here. And she was born to into a farming family. Father is a farmer and mother is a homemaker. Into a family of 5 other siblings, 2 of whom were also speech and hearing impaired. And her teacher guided her to the Nettour Technical Training Foundation, where she went through a 2-year ITI program in electromechanical trade. And today, after gaining about 2 years of experience, she is working in TVS Electronics. So when I interacted with her, not only did I see that her job, the salary that she is earning, is helping in the economic empowerment of her family, but I could clearly see the pride that she is really contributing in spite of her disability. So very positive vibes from her. We are joined by 2 remarkable people, Ms. Gi Sun Song from the Asian Development Bank and Mr. Ashim Burkhardt, the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Germany in the states of Karnataka and Kerala, whose work spans continents and communities, transforming life not just economically, but socially and emotionally. So with that, let's dive in. And my question to you, Gi-sun, coming from the Asian Development Bank, which I know provides support to various developmental initiatives, but could you share about a bit more about your organization and your specific role?
Sure. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here, and then thank you for inviting me for this very apt panel that ADB is like very passionate about this topic. Asian Development Bank was established in 1966 to promote the socio-economic development of Asia and the Pacific. ADB works with the government, private sector, civil society to reduce poverty and foster sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. Our mission is to achieve a prosperous, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable Asia and the Pacific. India has been a founding member to ADB, so we're gonna kind of celebrate 60th anniversary soon. Now, ADB has scaled up its operations significantly in recent years. Last year, we are delivering 4 billion annually as a sovereign lending to support mainly urban development, climate resilient, connectivity, power sector reform, and education and health sector improvement. Alongside this, ADB is also mobilizing around $1 billion annually in non-sovereign financing, targeting private sector investment in infrastructure, clean energy, urban transformation, and tertiary health and education services. Since the first education and skills development project in 2013, ADB has been working with the central and state government through 8 loans and 7 states, around $790 million investment and technical assistance. We are also supporting Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship for the new PM-SET2 program that we are very proud of to be partner with that. The ADB is working with the stakeholders in Karnataka on school education, higher education, and skill development interventions scheduled for 2026 and 2027 approval. Karnataka for us offers a very unique opportunity to demonstrate the integrated actions to improve state human capital through the interventions at the different levels of education and skilling ecosystem. And this session topic, the skilling for dignity, equity, and empowerment, as I mentioned in the onset, will be at the very heart of ADB and Karnataka partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Gisun. And Achim, when I look at the words consulate or embassy, what I remember is the nervous moments at the US consulate or the French consulate in answering questions to get a visa. Now I get to give it back by asking you to share about your organization and about your role.
Yes, thank you so much. You gave me the word which we are dealing every day with it. And just to give you an information, the German consulate in Bangalore is the worldwide biggest consulate in terms of long-term visa. We are issuing about 40,000 long-term visa means for students, for people working in Germany, for family going with their partners to Germany. It's 40,000 per year, so it's a huge number, and we try to make it happen as soon as possible because we have certain interests in that. And I think that is where the question of whether you need time to get a visa or not is answered, because we have interests. We have interests, and India has interests. India has a huge workforce, and we want, first of all, to support India and Karnataka in getting that workforce developed. And we are ready to partner, and we already partner with many institutions in India and in Karnataka on this topic. Second, we want, by doing so, not only support India in its way, and it was cited in the last fireside chat, in the Bharat 47 mission of India, to make India a developed economy by that year, because you need excellence in industry, and that's what we want to support. But also, we're a little bit also, looking at ourselves, because we have over 220 German companies, a lot of them producing here in Karnataka. Alone in Bangalore, it's 220 companies, and they need skilled workers. So it's not only for India, it's also for Germany and the German-Indo cooperation in the field of business and industry. And lastly, and I think that is the most important thing, we also look at skilled migration to Germany. And we had already this morning during our roundtable a discussion on that. What is needed for that? So we feel, being a German consulate here, and you see there is our logo with all the other missions, there's the GIZ there, the German Indo Cooperation logo there, that we want to work with India on that particular frame. We are a partner in a migration agreement with India. So skilling and working and industry and business and governments are working at the same page to make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarity, and love the enthusiasm and the passion with which you are involved with the state of Karnataka and, of course, India in general. Question for you, Gisun. When it comes to skilling in general, there's always the focus on students who are pursuing college education, upskilling them, or students who are in their, or youth who are in the early part of their careers, maybe in the early 20s. So is it pertinent to consider skilling as an effort to be undertaken by the youth looking for entry-level jobs? Or is skilling a lifelong effort from school to end of career?
Thank you very much. I think earlier the keynote speech as well as the earlier fireside chat actually highlighted a lot of those insights as well. I can just add my 2 tokens there. We need both. In the modern economies, the notion of staying in one job for the lifetime is not valid anymore. And then I'm sure even in the audience, many of you may have changed your job, like not just once or twice, but many times. The average person changes job about 12 times over their lifetime. This is US statistics. But I am sure the Karnataka growing so fast and then be part of the global value chain in many aspects, you would see this as a reality as well. With the younger generation switching even more frequently, for example, millennials are expected to hold like at least 3 jobs before they're reaching 35 years old. And then Gen Zs, actually the previous panel mentioned about like every month they're coming up with a different demand. Gen Zs actually projected to change their job every 2 years. So we're talking about that even like a new entrance will kind of facing this like a frequent job changes, and then technological changes and how the market is moving. This will be only accelerated rather than slowing down. For the corporate world, this means like a headache in recruitment and retention. But for the job seekers, continuous upgradation of the skills and experience, which is like we termed as competencies, moving up the career ladder through the job change is inevitable. So the first job market entrants, it is very important that they come with foundational and transferable skills, along with some job-specific skills that can be basis for stacking up more skills as they go. So earlier panels also mentioned about stackable and like modular competencies and skills highlighted that, but also the permeability between the general education and technical education as they move on the ladder. So for those who are already in the job market, continuous skill acquisitions, either formal or informal way, would be essential for them to stay relevant and productive. The rapid technological changes, again, it's like only accelerating this requirement. As earlier, NASCOM and like IT Skills Sector Council colleagues also like highlighted this a lot. Skilling system should be consider both needs. So I would say the skilling is for everyone.
Thank you. I will remember the point that you made that in today's world, one goes through about 12 jobs. I'm in my 4th job, and I still have 8 more to go with less than a decade of my career left.
And the retirement is coming, not coming anytime soon,
Yeah.
even after 65 years old. Maybe in the 80s you're doing something productive.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So Ashim, I spoke about Shantamma's story, and clearly I saw that pride and dignity and self-worth in her eyes, right? So how have skilling initiatives implemented or supported by your organization contributed not just to economic empowerment, but to restoring or improving on the dignity and self-worth of individuals?
You know, I think taking pride in what you're doing is always the best thing for doing very good work, very good craftsmanship, very good skills lead to that and lead to pride. What we try to do whenever we have a partner with whom we try to put up a program, with whom we talk, etc., with companies we talk to, there's always one point which we make very much clear. It is a mistake to leave out, for example, half of the society, which are women, out of the working process. And what I have witnessed in a lot of kind of visits at companies, you know, on the shop floor, the kind of happiness of young Karnataka women working proudly in a German company and making things happen in that company. This is something which I believe is very much in the DNA of the German companies. And when I say that, it is, you have to know that I would say 98% of the German companies in Bangalore are headed by Indian managers. So I think that spreads into the society and helps to support lifting up young women, for example, into the workforce. But it's not only about young women, it's about also other groups in society in remote areas, etc., to address. So that is very important, and I can see that companies we work with and institutions we work with are doing that. So, and I want to take that opportunity to say something on the skills. And I heard the keynote speech, which I really liked very much. And there was a notion in it which I also liked very much. Because I think society has also to change its view on craftsmanship, the view on what that contributes to our societies, you know, and it's enormous. And if you have somebody at home who fixes your electricity, and this person is not able to do it because this person was not properly formed, then that is not a good situation. But if you have somebody who takes pride in what he or she is doing and knows what he or she is doing, and you have a successful result, then everybody is happy. And I think, therefore, we as a society have to really look more positively, especially what we see in India. I see that much more in Germany because we have this history of saying that, I cited that this morning already, that craftsmanship has a golden floor, we say, which is a successful profession where you can make your living. And actually, if I would have been a craftsman in the age of 18, I probably would have earned more in my life than I have done as a diplomat, you know? So I think that is very important. We have also to accept that we pay well for these kind of services, you know? So there are many, many ways, and I think the attitude towards that is a very important thing because that also supports the pride you were talking about. And you have seen that with that young lady, and I think we can see that with the people who have a good formation. So that is very important, I believe. Great. And actually, I'm in my first job. As a student, I was a taxi driver, etc., but 37 years as diplomat.
All right, thank you. Question for you, Gisun. What are the mismatches in the skilling ecosystem? I mean, many partners, many organizations have to come together, including the government, in quite a lot of cases. So what are the mismatches in the skilling ecosystem that needs to be kept in mind for effective outcomes? And we have seen examples of how training happens, but the end result is not placement or entrepreneurship opportunities. Or training is not completed and half done and so on, right? So those are outcomes, those are not outcomes that we should be proud of, right? So what are those mismatches?
Thank you very much. Skilling is a means to an end, and then the end or the outcome, as he mentioned, should be someone employed, so landed on job, and then the person is feeling the self-fulfillment by carrying out those like job functions and tasks, and then like be part of the society, and then therefore their job is coming with the dignity and living, and like thus the person is empowered as an important member of the society. Then we do see that there are several mismatches that is actually coming undermining this effort. The most cited mismatches is really like a supply and demand. As like a keynote speaker mentioned, the education system does not produce like the workforce that is needed by the industry and employers. That is like a famous mismatch, demand and supply. But what is like an undercurrent and a more difficult issue to address is this aspiration or expectation mismatch, both from the job seeker side as well as the employer side. There is this mismatch, and then that kind of related to a certain extent what my co-panel mentioned about this, like the value of skill. Now, while supply and demand mismatch, we are really trying to bridge that by having better understanding of the employer's requirements, and then try to customize a training program, and all these like modularization and like industry sector skills council advising to improve the training program contents and delivery and so on. All those like efforts are made to bridge the mismatches. But the mismatches in the aspiration and expectation has to be really dealt in the much younger age, and then more society-wise, like a social-cultural value changes around this skill has to happen. At the end of the day, whatever education pathways we go through, and then whatever exit point from the education system or further training and so on, the ultimate goal of every individual in the society to remain productive and have a dignified life is finding some cause for their life, and then they're through the jobs, right? So there should be kind of this valuing all types of jobs is very, very important. And then that kind of understanding has to be really built in a younger age. And then like communities and family has to be also coming with that kind of changes. And then hence like I was really encouraged when the high-level leadership yesterday during the inaugural session really talking about the culture of skill and like a culture of like a valuing the skill is a very, very important steps. And then having like a bringing skilling to every aspects of education is also very important steps. So we are kind of very like it's a challenge for us, like try to bringing those like a transformative changes. But as I mentioned, like ADB is given the opportunity to work with the Karnataka government on the school education, higher education, and skilling initiatives. That we hope like we contribute to bridge these like triple mismatches by kind of using this opportunity to work in the three subsectors of education and skilling. Thank you.
Thank you. I think all of us can keep a note of these mismatches when we support programs in the future for effective outcomes. Last question to you, Ashim. How can governments, civil society, and the private sector collaborate more effectively to create skilling pathways that empower individuals not just to earn, but to lead and influence within their communities?
You see, what is happening since yesterday here is an effort of doing such a thing, to bring together all the actors in that field and to communicate and to see where we can streamline, where we can adapt to each other, where we adapt to the needs of the communities, of the people, of the ones who want to learn, the ones who want to work, of the ones who need the workers. So I think there are different very important players. One is governments. I think governments have a role to play, but what they can't do is really to bring the amount of needed kind of services to that sector. It has to be the private sector, which has the private skilling sector, which is at one side, and there is a private sector, which is industry on the other side. So these are the three main actors which have to coordinate in order to make it happen on all levels of society, from the community level to the top level in society. I think if that cooperation is not working well, if the coordination is not functioning, then again we have silos, and everybody is working in its own silo, and they're not talking together. And that is, I think, the worst thing at the end, because the outcome will not be successful. And it's to the detriment of the young people, because they have aspiration, and they come into a system, they adapt to the system, they learn something in the belief they will be successful in the future. But if we, the governments, the industry, and the skilling institutions do not live up to the expectations, these people won't have a successful life in the future. The responsibility of all these actors is extremely high to make it happen for the young people and to make them a very good part of all of our society. So therefore I think something like we now witness here with so many also international players is to learn what can we learn from each other. And one thing which I think could learn from each other is to coordinate, to keep the curricula on a high level, on an equal level, because what we have seen quite often also here is, especially we in the consulate, when we issue a visa for somebody who wants to go to Germany to work there, that what is written on the certificate by a skilling agency or a skilling organization, the person is not able to do. And that we have to work on, especially that particular side, that we live up to the expectations and that the young people really can do whatever they have learned and are employable at the very end of the day.
Thank you, Gisun. Thank you, Ashim, for your insights, for your partnership with Karnataka, and for reminding that skilling is just not about capabilities, it's about lifelong learning. It's about unique models and continuous improvements. As we move forward from this summit, may we all commit to building ecosystems where every individual, regardless of background, has the opportunity to learn, grow, and lead with dignity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just request all of you to kindly stay back for a moment. I would request the chairperson of the Karnataka Skill Development Corporation to please come over, Srimati Shivakantam Naik, to give away mementos to all our students, speakers. Well, it's selfie time, so it's clapping time for all of us. Yeah. Thank you very much to all the three esteemed panelists, the moderator as well as the speakers. The global perspective, skilling for dignity, equity and empowerment. Thank you very much for that wonderful session. Thank you, madam, for giving away the mementos. We straight away head to the next important session, which is leveraging technology to scale skills. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this discussion would explore how innovation can make skilling more inclusive, efficient, and of course, scalable. It will also examine practical ways to use technology as an enabler, expanding access, improving delivery, and ensuring quality at scale. At the same time, aligning with the evolving needs of learners, educators, and industries. We have a very interesting and, of course, esteemed panel to take us through this all-important session. At the outset, in the interest of time, I would straight away call upon our speakers, Shri Arvind Vaishnav, Head of Philips Innovation Campus, PIC, Bengaluru, Royal Philips. Put your hands together for Mr. Arvind. I would also like to call upon Mr. Ishwinder Singh, Head India and SARC Cisco Networking Academy. Nikita Bengani, Director of Youth Program, Quest Alliance. Music ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. Speaker, Professor Venkapaya R. Desai, Director IIT Dharwad, and our moderator, Mr. Madan Padaki, Managing Trustee of Head Held High Foundation. Mattomme swagata Padaki avare. I know you'd like me to call you in Kannada. Adrinda I called you in Kannada, yeah. And this being the Rajyotsava month, it's all celebration time for Kannadigas. So put your hands together for that important session of leveraging technology to scale skills. Since we are already running behind schedule, I'll not talk further. I'll straight away hand over the session to Mr. Madan. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Namaskara. Good afternoon again. Onsati ellaru namaskara. So this is a wake-up call. I know we are between you and the chai and at the end of the day, so we'll keep it short and snappy. We have been told that we have about 30 minutes. So welcome to this conversation. I just wanted to set the context a bit before we jump in, and we've got a fantastic set of perspectives coming on leveraging technology. As I was sitting there, I was remembering about 10 years, or no, it's more than that, about 15 years ago when video conferencing first came in. I got a call from some large education institution, I won't name which, and they said the Vice Chancellor wants you to come and meet. And I said, of course, but this was far away, and the meeting was next day. So I somehow convinced them to say, boss, there's a video conferencing center in your city, there's a video conferencing center in my city, why don't we do a video conference? They said, yeah, great idea, we'll use technology, video conference is nice. And evening I get a call again, so when are you landing? I said, no, we thought we'll do video conference. He said, sir, you come, we'll do whatever you want. So what I was thinking of as we were discussing it as a context of the panel is that it is not so much about technology, but leveraging technology itself. Yeah. Right? Technology, as we know, is progressing at a rapid pace. But as an ecosystem of learners, of users, of students, how do we make sure that there's an absorptive capacity to use technology in the right way to be able to generate social and economic outcomes, right? So that was the thought that I had. And I thought we'll start off with the lady on the panel.
I was expecting that.
Nikita. And if we can just start off with each of us, if we can just do a quick opening comments for 3-4 minutes, then we'll do one more round of conversations and
Super.
Take some
Thank
learnings.
you so much, Madan. And I was thinking that being the only lady on the panel, probably I was suspecting that I'd have to start. But very happy to be here and happy to see so many people still in the room, almost towards the end of the day. And I think just building on what Madan started out with, I think for us also when we go back to the early days of Quest, when we were starting out as an organization, I think for us, technology was something we believed in very strongly. Although like back then in 2008, when we would talk about technology for learning, people would like really laugh at us saying that in a country like India, and somebody spoke about Bharat earlier, you know, how do you think technology can get used for anything? The conversation started with access not being there, and for many years we were just stuck with the access problem. And even if we said that, okay, we will provide access, we will give computers in classrooms, we will provide mobile phones in the classroom, you know, we were also told, like there was so much of conversation I remember having with principals in skilling institutions, ITIs, saying that, but our students cannot bring mobile phones in the classroom, they cannot learn using technology, right? So there was a lot of skepticism using technology. And now as I fast forward, you know, 15 years later, and I feel like, you know, a lot of crisis sometimes is a bedrock for a lot of transformation. And I think COVID really proved to be that bedrock for technology, where it really built this belief in technology, because I think literally we were left with no choice but to adopt it. And I know, like, while, you know, a lot of people are talking about job losses, we were so busy at Quest because everybody was reaching out to us saying, how do we continue learning in our classrooms, because we don't have any digital solutions. You know, and that really is the journey I've seen of how technology has enabled like learning, earning, and even like making organizations and their programs so much more efficient, right? So that's kind of the context I wanted to bring in terms of the journeys we have seen. And hence, you know, I wanted to also share some of the things that we've been sort of dappling with over the last many years, you know, in the edtech space, especially from a learning perspective. One of the things we've worked on is a solution that we called as a Quest app, which is a digital learning platform, which kind of helps learners navigate through the idea of how do I explore various careers, identify the right career for myself, get ready for that career, and then actually, you know, transition to that career. And how do we, you know, use technology in meaningful ways to sort of transcend through all of these journeys that a young person requires in a skilling context. You know, and that's something we've been using actively in government ITIs in many parts of the country, in many skilling programs that we run, even with private NGOs across the board. And I think the interesting things for us have also been that, you know, given large-scale government programs have constraints of resources in the classroom. And when a lot of us talk about technology, sometimes we also say that, you know, just building apps and giving it in the hands of the students will lead to learning. We all know it doesn't happen like that. The human connect with that trainer is also really critical, but that trainer itself is so stretched in these skilling institutions that they don't oftentimes have the ability to provide that personalized support and attention to all of our learners, right? And increasingly I feel like the kind of environment we all live in, learner needs more personalized learning, more, you know, relevant things, because there are hundreds of solutions out there. But what is really useful for me is what they're looking for. And hence, how does technology make learning in classrooms more personalized? I think for us, what we have built out has also led to a greater amount of personalization and, you know, on-demand, anytime, anywhere learning to our learners. And I feel like we've also done a lot of good work around seeing that how do you make this trainer feel less stretched in trying to engage with so many learners in the classroom? So how can technology be an enabler for the trainer themselves? So how can, you know, how can they use technology well to enhance their own learning? How do they use technology well to train students better? And as part of this Quest app solutions that I was speaking about, a lot of this has also been built. And, you know, we recently also released something called like a lesson plan creator using AI. You know, a trainer can literally use that, you know, lesson plan creator to say that I want to teach this subject today. This is my context. This is the kind of learners I have in the classroom. This is the constraints I'm working with. And how do you help me create an active learning classroom? So there are so many interesting ways in which technology can also help scale programs that are working in low resource, low constraints, high constraints environments with certain amount of quality. So it's not about technologies only required for scale, but it's also it also plays a really interesting role in ensuring quality, providing more personalization and support. And the other piece that I just want to touch upon for like a half a minute more is also like, using technology from an earning perspective, right? I think there are a lot of interesting solutions that we've seen, and I think here also there's a session on the Blue Dot project that XStep is doing, where how do you use AI and technology in interesting ways to do the right job matching, at the get-go and do intelligent filtering. We've also been building out solutions to see how we can really cut down time on getting the right person to the right jobs, and especially to the local jobs. So there are also a lot of relevant solutions out there for something like this. And also, how do you continue to support learners after they've graduated out of the skilling program, gone into the workplace, and how do they then still find on-demand learning, on-demand support, or the struggles they may be having at the workplace, or if they want to upscale, if they want to find another job, what are the ways in which technology could aid some of it? So there are a lot of interesting solutions that are out there at the moment into this whole learning to earning continuum and making, learning happen at scale with certain amount of quality.
Wonderful. I think you said like the opening batsman, you set the wonderful context for the rest of the match. Learning, earning, how do you keep the lifelong learning going? Just aside, for some of you who are interested in the whole Blue Dot local economy initiative, there's a roundtable happening tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I think. Do attend it we're hosting it with XStep and Headley Foundation. Very interesting experiment of connecting local jobs. But I think that's where technology comes to play. Let me switch over to Ishwinder. Again, Cisco Networking Academy, it's almost like become the lexicon of CCNA, CCNE, EA, whatever, the alphabet soup that we have, and you've been in the thick of all this. How do you see that itself evolving, and in the new world of tech, what kind of pull or demand do you see emerging as well? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, Madan. So, as you talked about, Cisco Networking Academy is one of the largest and the longest running program. We are in 26th year of running the program, and which set us very, very different from the global perspective. And this is likely a global philanthropy of Cisco that way. And right from the starting of internet, Cisco has been in the front runner position in terms of bringing new tech, innovating in tech, right from the network, the security. And now if we talk about the AI perspective, few days back only we launched a AI stack where like data centers were there, but currently if you see there is no mechanism where data center can act like a cluster. So we launched that chip, and now AI like entire stack, server stack is available under Cisco. So now coming specifically to likely the networking academy and the skilling ecosystem. So if we talk about last 12 months, we empowered around 900,000, which is 9 lakh students. So that number
in India itself.
Yeah, in India itself.
Wow.
Yeah. And this year we just completed 30 lakh student empowerment in India. If we talk about the global number, this number is around 5.2 million, 52 lakh student every year in 194 countries. So all the flagged country this program is run. And you might be appreciative that there are a lot of countries where we don't have offices to do sales or the business, but philanthropy is reaching there. So that is that perspective. And since very beginning we started using the technology, so we have a full-fledged LMS where we want to use technology very, that is the fundamental stuff. And LMS today we talk, it looks very common, but we started 26 years back. So then we started with the LMS perspective. We also have simulator because Cisco equipments are pretty expensive in terms of bringing to all the places, like tier 1 colleges, tier 2 colleges can afford, but the rural colleges. So we never wanted that people should invest in order to get skilled, they should invest in buying technology. So we created simulator, which is, we call it as a packet tracer, and that is such a powerful simulator that even you can design a small office network, and to the complexity, if I talk about, you can even design and simulate the entire smart city network, including the sensors and all the complexities of that. So in learning, we use technology pretty well. And then it is all about collaboration. So a lot of you might have heard about WebEx, which is the collaboration tech, and it's heavily used in government and heavily used in the enterprise setting. We brought in WebEx, and when in COVID, everyone almost was struggling that how we bring in. So in fact, we were anyways doing, we call it that it is not a classroom, the physical classroom where just teacher is talking about and student is listening, writing notes and then giving exam. It is beyond the classroom. It is likely a continuum of learning which even continues when you go off the classroom. So we have such a powerful technology where definitely the virtual and the physical, there is no experience difference. We use WebEx, and then subsequently we also brought in very, very powerful chat or a group or forum management stuff. So we also have a collaboration technology onto the WebEx. And then in the NetAcad, again, we don't wanted that people should start buying the WebEx licenses. So all the instructor, we work with around 2,000 instructor in India, and globally it's 12,000. We offer minimum 2 WebEx licenses, which is very expensive. Every one of you might be using the enterprise one. So it's fully funded. So when we say networking academy, it's fully funded, and technology is at cusp of everything. And if I talk about the recent conversations, we are about to launch a AI assistant. Like always, student need a companion, which is 24/7. Teacher cannot be with 24/7. So we are trying to bring those perspective. In the content, in the learning space, we already have brought in a lot of AI tech on our LMS, and it's being very, very heavily used. And we do a master classes. So we use technology at the best, and we set example. And I'll give you one very small example. In 2021, we partnered with AICT, and we offered the virtual internship program. You might have heard about VIP program, which is very popular program. 2021, Cisco was the first company. We said we will offer 20,000 virtual internship in security specifically. And that was very, very critical ask, and it was a huge pilot which happened in India, and it went so well that AICT adopted that pilot as their formal program. And now all the OEMs, our colleagues, they are offering in various technologies. So this is something, and it is completely virtual, right from learning to industry session, to interaction, to problem statement, the evaluation, everything is digital. There is no physical connect. So these are few of the examples how we have used technology to scale the skilling programs.
Wonderful. I mean, you captured the history of 26 years in like 2 minutes, 60 seconds or something like that, but that's fantastic to see the evolution. I'll come back to you with one specific question, but let's move to the, from the tech world to the real world in a way of machines and men and now IIT Dharwad, Professor Desai has been at the helm, steering, learning for the new age, but our graduates who are looking at the core sciences and the core engineering work. So I'd love to hear your views on how can we. Nikita also talked about the quality; it's just not quantity, and especially from your perspective, would love to hear your thoughts on how are you using technology and what do you foresee.
Dhanyawad, that is thanks. Sarvarigu Namaskara, greetings to all. See, when we talk of technologies, why technology? That's a big question. After all, technology is applied science, is engineering, and then engineering with certain relevant techniques is technology. So I would like to put it three ways. Technologies for achieving broadly three things. The first one is improving the quality of life. The quality of life for an individual as well as for the society as a whole. And maybe that is when we talk of quality of life, it is also like say quality of our schools, quality of our roads, quality of our hospitals, quality of our other facilities, whatever. And second is technology for resource optimization. Resources are limited. We know time is the biggest resource, financial resources, and other material resources. They are all scarcely available. So therefore, there is a need for optimization, resource optimization. So technology should achieve this. If we are able to do double the tasks in the same amount of time with adopting appropriate technology, and similarly if we are able to do that is say minimize wastage or rather transform waste into wealth.
Correct.
Or even that is regarding and then similarly other financial resources. There is so much of wastage of this one. There could be financial resources either intentionally or unintentionally. If we are able to minimize, because of see that many that is online like say for example the digital payments and all. So automatically in many cases there is the pilferage or corruption, all those things have automatically and naturally have come down. So that is one. That is second objective is of technology is resource optimization. Third is sustainability, because many times technology leads to a new thing, and there is a possibility that a newly adopted technology may result in a that is unsustainable and unsustainable practices. Like say for example, many things. See earlier, say that means the agriculture was it is all by fun. What is called now we call it organic farming and all. Earlier that was a norm, but in the interest of increasing productivity, we used chemical fertilizers, and then so these chemical fertilizers they resulted in their own side effects. So, but at the same time, sustaining the productivity, increased productivity, as well as creating quality products. At the same time, to ensure sustainability. That means our air quality, water quality, and other one. So that is needs to be maintained, because see the word sustain means sustain, contain, retain, maintain. All these things are this one. So therefore, these are I believe these are the three main objectives of any technology. Whether it is the technology related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, whatever it is, or whether it is technology related to improving our productivity, that means machine tools or whatever it is, even simple ones. Now there is a digital technology, you can put a signature. One need not physically sign every paper. So these are some of the things. And coming to skills, so I would put the skills as 4, that is DCBA. D is the domain related skills. If I am in a educational domain, I am a professor, so a professor or any teacher needs to have certain domain related skills. Only then he or she is able to command respect, as well as fun. That's why there is a word for teacher. There is a word in Sanskrit called acharya. Acharya if it is a male, acharya if it is a female. So acharya is somebody who practices and then preaches. Acharan, then acharya. Acharya or acharya. So in English there is a say that first practice and then preach. So therefore this is the domain skill. Then I would put it as communication skill. This communication skill can be related to how you communicate using say language, or many times even simple one. Suppose there is some calamity has happened or something like that. Even if you put your hand on the back of a person affected by certain calamity, then that person will get a reasonable amount of confidence. So that this person or a group of persons are behind me in my hour of grief. So that kind of person. That is the communication skill. Next comes the behavioral skills, which is also known as soft skills. I cannot just because if I overestimate myself, then there is every possibility that I will estimate other, or I will underestimate others. If I underestimate myself, there is every possibility that I will overestimate others. So therefore, we need to be a balance. I should not only estimate myself, I should also estimate others. So that comes only with appropriate behavioral skills. Respecting a person's seniority, respecting a person's background, respecting, that means a human dignity and all these things. So that is behavioral skills. And then lastly, there are additional skills. So which I will put all other things in this. So it is DCBA, like that. So therefore, this technology, and the topic is leveraging technology to scale the skills. So using appropriate technology, it can be a digital technology, it can be an artificial intelligence, it can be machine learning, or it can be any one. There is a healthcare, improving our healthcare. Like say even say simply we walk forward, just on a plain land, if we walk backward, that can create a lot of positive impact on our health. So these kinds of these additional skills, so there should be a proper blending or bridging between the technology and the skills. Only then we can scale the skills as an individual, as a group, and eventually the whole world will respect either the person, the individual, or Swan. I would like to keep on Swan. Indian chair professor in California Institute of Technology just compared Indians with Japan. So I'm talking of Professor Srinivas Kulkarni, sometime about 18-20 years back. There was a cover page article on him in Week magazine. He said one Indian is equivalent to 10 Japanese, but 10 Indians equal one Japanese. Because in Japan, no school has any janitor. Right from their kindergarten days, KG to PG, cleanliness is the responsibility of the students there. So, and then, so this kind of collective behavior, social responsibility, either for cleanliness, all these things are created. So therefore, individually they may not be fun, but collectively they create such an impact, and then that is visible globally. Whereas in our case, individually you may be very good, but as collectively, because I do not have faith in the others, I want to put others down, and there is every possibility that others will put me down.
Correct.
So these kinds of things. So therefore, this collective social needs only then we are able to do that. So this is my submission.
Thank you, sir. I think you painted such a wonderful arc, right from technology benefits to what are the skills, and a larger societal benefit of this, of connecting these two as well. And that brings me to Arvind. You've been at the helm of the Philips Innovation Campus. And, the Innovation Campus itself has been churning out so many technological innovations across spheres. It's fantastic to hear, all the work that's being done by everybody here finally culminates into something innovative happening in the industry like what you're doing. How do you see that from a larger societal angle as well, Arvind?
So I think, there have been a great word spoken in terms of sustainable societal impact. And I think that's what our lens is. When we think of technology for scaling skills, 3 words come to my mind. Number one, that it should be transformative. It should be exponential. It should be different from what we are doing today and take it to our next level, which has been also the theme of this forum. And then these 2 things has to happen in a more sustainable fashion for a societal impact. Now, I know that there is a buzzer going on and there is a need to go fast, so I won't go into more details, but our approach has always been a more holistic way. So we don't look at upskilling our engineers for creating the product for Philips. We are a consumer and a medtech organization, so when we design a product, we keep in mind that who is going to use it. Is there going to be a doctor on the other side? How are they going to use it? I can build any AI in my product. What is the use if the clinicians are not able to use it? What is the use if the paraprofessionals who are supposed to use and nursing staff who are supposed to take care of the better patients, if they are not able to use it? So I think our approach and lens is always towards that. I'll give you one example. We have a technology called collaborative reacts. What it does is, if you are on the other side, right with the patient, and I'm on this side as a skilled physician, we can interact with each other. I can see you what you are doing. You can see what I'm saying. I can virtually guide you how to move around either the patient or the things that whatever you are operating. It is such a powerful, and it creates an enormous impact at a societal level. So I think as an industry, our lens, and for my fellow colleagues as well, they also touched upon the outcome or the measure of scaling. Scale should be an impact on the society.
Beautifully said.
It cannot be an impact on my business or your business or what you are doing or what I am doing. It has to be a larger impact at a societal level. And that's what Philips, we practice. And that's why we are more than 130-year-old innovative company. And I think everyone in the room knows Philips and Philips products. So I'll keep it short.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. No, I don't think we could have ended on a much better note. I'm thinking as you were talking, maybe, and all the conversations, leveraging technology to scale skills for societal impact.
Exactly.
Right?
And it has to be more sustainable. Otherwise, we do something for 2 years,
Correct.
and it will fall off another
For
30 years.
sustainable societal impact,
Exactly.
we will rename the panel. No, I think at the foundation, just to wrap up, we've actually launched an initiative called Jan AI. We're saying what India needs is not more of Gen AI, but Jan AI, where how do you make AI work for the people? Right? How can it put 1,000 rupees more in the hands of a farmer? How can it give 4 more customers to a women entrepreneur? How can it help a rural student find better careers, right? So unless and until we harness technology for that sustainable social impact or societal impact, then everything else is only numbers game and just ticks and...
That's the outcome we should always be looking at. Nothing else comes into the play.
Fantastic. On that note, I do wish that there are some innovators in the room who can make, 45 minutes look like 30 minutes. Maybe we'll roll out a challenge for that, but I'm afraid that we are at the end of our allotted 30 minutes. We could have gone on for much longer. But needless to say, all of us are available. We will chat up. This is just the beginning of a conversation. I'm sure, Bengaluru Skills Summit is just not a summit. It's a conversation platform. We'll come out with more ideas. Thank you so much for all the insightful comments and the wonderful tapestry that we created. And thank you, audience, for a patient listening. And apologies that we were not able to get to the Q&A, but picture abhi baki hai mera dost, as Shah Rukh Khan famously says. We will continue the conversation soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
I request all of you to kindly stay back. I would request the chairperson of Karnataka Skill Development Corporation, Madam Srimati Shivkantam Kantanaik, to please come over and give away mementos to all the esteemed panelists. Shri Arvind Vaishnav, Ishwinder Singh, Nikita Bengani, Professor Venkapaya R. Desai, and of course the moderator, Madan Parke. Ladies and gentlemen, please be in your seats, because next we are going into a different realm of presentation, into a different world. So stay back and please be in your seats. Leveraging technology to scale skills. Thank you very much to all the panelists. Dhanyavadagalu. Thank you very much for all the panelists. We straight away move on to the next session. As we are all aware, today is the day of, in fact, the future. Everybody is talking about the age of AI. And the next session is about exploring case studies and real-world insights to reveal the 5 essential skills that is required to shaping success in the AI era. And of course, helping individuals to stay adaptable, future-ready, and unstoppable in a world of constant change. We have our influencer ready, so please put your hands together for Mr. Ishan Sharma, the YouTuber, social media influencer, and co-founder of Mark It Up. Welcome to you, Sharma ji. How are you? I'm fine, yeah. It's all yours. You want to? Just Scotland.
All right, amazing. What's up, Bangalore? I'm feeling a lack of energy here. I want you all to stand up first of all. It's been a long day. Come on. Come on. Let's do it. All right, I want you all to clap for yourself. Amazing. I think you've clapped for other people enough the whole day. It's time to clap for yourself. You've been sitting here, learning from everyone and becoming better every day. All right, let's sit down and let's talk about the topic today. So, unstoppable things, skills that can make you unstoppable in the age of AI. That's what we're talking about. Now, either I can give you all the data, I can give you all the survey, the research, or everything, the exact skills that you need to become unstoppable in the age of AI, or I can actually tell you my story. How many of you have watched my videos on YouTube? All right, I see some hands. How many of you are engineers or future engineers? All right, I see some people here. Okay, so I'll tell you what happened, right? Exactly 10 years ago is when I was 14. Yes, I'm 24. That's the first question someone asked me when I entered this room. So I was 14, reading the newspaper with my dad, and we were looking at all the headlines. And there we see, at the top of Times of India, the headline was, IIT Roorkee student bags 2 crore placement at Uber. My father was reading it, and I was reading it, and then he was looking at the news, he was looking at me, looking at the news, and it was set. That's it. That's what I'm going to do. Data science. It was the hottest skill to learn back in 2014 and even today. And that was it. He was like, I want you to become an engineer and I want you to learn about data science and go get that 2 crore Uber job. And that began my 4-year journey of preparing for IIT JEE. And I'm sure a lot of you have prepared for it. You know how hard it is, how much time you have to put in, the exams that you have to prepare for, the mock tests that you give. I signed up for multiple coaching classes. I used to play tabla. I used to try a bunch of other things. I had to stop all of that and just focus on one thing, trying to crack all the questions that I might get in my IIT JEE exam. I was in Mumbai when I gave my IIT JEE exam, went there. I was able to clear JEE mains, but when I got onto JEE Advance is when I just panicked. 4 years of hard work, all amounting to this 3 hours of time in which I had to maximize and pass this test. And if I don't, then the 4 years are gone to waste. It's a very hard position to be in. And so I panicked. I couldn't answer the questions well. I didn't have my strategy properly. And I could not clear JEE Advance. Now, for most movies, this would be the turning point where the actor either, takes the hard decision, becomes better, or takes a decision to, sort of do something tragic with their life. There was one option, obviously. I could take another year, take a drop year, go to Kota, start another preparation for IIT JEE, or I could do something else. And that's what I did. I decided, I remember the date, it was 27th of May, 2019, after I gave my JEE Advanced exam. You just have a feeling after the exam that it did not go well, and I knew it. And I knew that, for better or for worse, I will never go back to this life of trying to solve one paper, and this paper will determine the rest of your life. I decided that this will not be my future. The next day, I started learning coding. I just started learning as many skills as possible. I used to read books, I used to learn coding, I used to just watch as many YouTube videos as possible. Thankfully, I gave another exam called BITSAT, and that's how I ended up in BITS Pilani. Now, obviously, a lot of people have heard of BITS Pilani. It's one of the best private engineering colleges in India. But when I got into BITS, the first day I remember for inductions into societies and the clubs over there, I went into one of the clubs and I was looking at the 4th year students, the coordies, the coordinators. They came in and they were giving a speech about, what can you expect, what will you learn, and I noticed one thing. Now, these were exceptional developers, right? The last 3-4 years they've spent at BITS, they've learned how to code, they've learned engineering, but they were poor at everything else. They just could not talk. They could not communicate. Half of them were stammering. They did not have the confidence to stand up to juniors. And so that night when I came back to my hostel is when I asked myself, the biggest advice that we get is, just follow the seniors. Just make connections with them. See what they're doing, just copy them, and you'll probably end up like them. But I did not want to be that. Somewhere inside of me, I was like, I can be better than this. And so I had to do something different, right? Just following the curriculum, doing what they're telling you to do will not get me where I want to go. What did I do then? I realized that I need to, first of all, fix my communication skills. I need to get better at soft skills. I've always been that typical Sharma ji ka beta who always sits at the, introvert guy who does not talk much, gets good grades. So I decided that I want to do something different. And the first thing that came to my mind was that let's start a podcast. So I realized that there are amazing seniors in my college who are doing exceptional work. There was a senior in third year who went for a 6-month-long internship to Harvard, paid by Harvard for research in AI and ML. There was a 4th-year student who had built his YouTube channel on teaching how to code. There was a 4th-year student who had gotten funded by Y Combinator and was building their fintech startup. All of this was happening in my campus itself. And I thought, let me interview all of them. Let me ask them their journeys and put it out to people. And that's what I did. Every Sunday, I would go sit in the library, talk to all of these folks, and just start having conversations and put out those conversations on YouTube, on Spotify actually. And then every time there was a mess, a lunch break, I would go up to everyone sitting next to me, having lunch with me, and I would ask them that, hey, do you like to listen podcasts on Spotify? And they would say, what? Isn't Spotify for like songs? Back in that time, podcast wasn't like a big thing on Spotify. But then I realized that I need to be on YouTube. That's where everyone else is. So I launched my podcast on YouTube on the 5th of January, 2020. It's been 6 years so far. The channel is now at 2 million subscribers, over 500 million views, and over 1,700 videos. And the goal was always simple, to document my journey, to talk about the skills that can help people my age make a living doing what they love. So it could be anything from software engineering to digital marketing to learning about sales to learning about communication to all of those skills I would document on my channel. I would bring in guests who would be specialists for a particular topic, like how do you start a startup? So I brought in Ashneer Grover, I brought in Sanjeev Bikchandani, I brought in a couple of these people who would talk about this on my channel and give as much value as possible to people around the country. I discovered that the biggest equalizer in our country, which always focuses on the tag, like do you have the IIT tag, do you have the IIM tag, is YouTube. Because it teaches you things that you never were aware of before. Like I had no idea that I can sit in my room, I can talk about how to code, I can talk about different skills, and companies would want to invite me to come speak at their events and teach other people. Like how is that even possible? And here I am today, at 24 doing all of this. It's pretty crazy. All right, so I would just make videos, right? Pandemic happened, I came back to Mumbai, I started making more videos, documenting my journey, started freelancing. There was a YC-backed company who saw my video, and they reached out to me saying that, hey, you're able to create videos on your channel, we want you to create videos on our channel now. So that was my first freelance income, so as to say, in August of 2020. And that was insane. Like, I had no idea that someone would pay me 5,000 rupees for making a video and editing it for their channel. That was pretty crazy because, all my life I've been told that the way to succeed is to learn to code, get a software engineering job, and have the free food at Google. That's how you win. At least that's what I was told. But there I was editing videos, I was working with multiple companies, and that is when I had this idea. I had a lot of companies reaching out, wanting to create videos on their channel. So I reached out to my co-founder, to my roommate from college. He was into Instagram marketing. His name is Saransh. He's not available here because he's working in our office here in Bangalore. But I reached out to him and I said that, hey, you know about Instagram, you know about ads, I understand YouTube, I've been doing it for the last 1 year. Let's try to build something together. And there it was. We were just on a G-Meet and we launched a marketing company, bought the domain name marketup.in, and that began a 4-year-long journey to where we have today a 25-people team here in Bangalore with an office, employing hundreds of people so far and helping them do the work that they love. These are not traditionally editors. Like these are engineers who don't like engineering, but just love to edit videos. They love storytelling. They love design. And so we gave them a place for them to make a living with that particular skill. Then came 2022, March. The pandemic was over. My excuse to not attend the lectures was also over. And I had to go back. The college called us back. I was still in third year. And then I went back. And I noticed something. My problems are different from everyone else. Everyone else in my batch was worried about, the next internship. They were worried about how do I solve that paper that is coming up? How do I complete my practical exams? Well, I was thinking about, how do I grow my marketing company? How do I make better videos on YouTube? How can I learn editing? And I just couldn't relate with anyone. I spent 21 days when I came back to college, and I had realized that I need to be in a better environment that suits what I am doing and helps me become a better person. And that was definitely not my college. I went up to the dean, I knocked on her door, went inside, and I said that, I want to set up a studio outside. So we're talking about BITS Goa. I was studying in Goa back then. And I asked, can you allow me to set up a studio outside? And she said, no, you have to be in the campus. You have to abide by the rules. You cannot break them. And so I said that, in that case, I cannot operate in the college, so I will have to drop out. And she could not believe what I was saying. She was like, kya karoge? Like, what else would you do? Like, you have this degree, you're already in third year, you have one more year to go. You can just complete and then do whatever you want. Maine bola, no. I need to prioritize my channel and my company. And she couldn't believe it. And that was 27th of March, 2022. My father came from Pune. We packed up all of our bags, and we came to Pune. And that's when I decided that I will move to Bangalore, and it has been more than 3 years since then. 1st April, I was in Bangalore, and I called my dad, and I said that, I want to shift to Bangalore, and I will be, taking all of my stuff from Pune and coming here in Bangalore and meeting with all the founders, interacting with them, potentially building my company over here. And that night, he came back from work, and he said that, I think the best thing we can do for our family is to be together. So I've also resigned from my job. I'm going to move from Pune to Bangalore with you because you want to be together. And that was insane to hear. Like, who does that? And today, I get to have this life in which I am working in a metro city like Bangalore. I am meeting my parents in the weekends. I have my office here, which is 10 minutes away from my home. And this is the best thing that I was able to achieve. But why am I telling you all this? Because of the skills that I learned throughout the way. Right? Today, I get to do events like these with some of the world's biggest companies like Coca-Cola, like Lenovo, like Intel, like the Dubai government. I get to go to these spaces and meet all these amazing people, take trips to Apple campus in Cupertino in California, meet all the people over there. And it's all possible because of the skills that I learned. But what are these skills? And how can you learn them? Let's talk about that. Shall we do it? All right. Well, the first skill that, that you're looking at me for is communication. And this is something which I recently learned. So a couple of years ago, I put up a story on Instagram saying that, hey, I want colleges to invite me to events. I don't want to just talk to the camera and just say that I can create videos and talk. No, that's not really communicating. That's just talking to a camera. I want to talk to people, and I want to go to events and do talks like these. And so as a result of that, I got the chance to go to over 40 to 50 colleges, meet thousands of students, interact with them one-on-one, and actually understand their problems. And notice there are a few things that you can do to get better at communicating. And the best thing you can do is to have clear thinking. The first step, there are no tricks to it, is just understanding what do you want to speak and how can you speak it effectively in the most simple form possible. I'm not using any, crazy words like transformative and innovative or any of those words. I'm just speaking out my story in a way that anyone can understand. That is effective communication. Communication that everyone can understand the minute they hear it. What else? The second skill that I learned throughout this entire journey is sales. And sales is something which I never thought I would be focusing on. I started my marketing company And we were doing fine for the first 1 year because people and companies would watch my channel, they would reach out to me, and we would get sales like that. But then, after a point, it became kind of weird because we were not getting any more sales. So we thought, let's try to learn about sales and how does it really work. So we learned about cold outreach. How do you reach out to companies? How do you create an ideal customer profile? What type of customers would want to afford our service? What services do we offer? Who do we want to offer it to? So last year, we did a campaign in which I was in San Francisco for 45 days. And we sent out emails to all the AI companies, because AI is the boom, and we wanted to sell to AI companies now. And we did tens and dozens of meetings with all the AI founders over there. And I was able to learn how to effectively sell, how to create a funnel, how to get people in, and how to convert them effectively, and then onboard them on as clients in the company. I think this is the most interesting skill that you can learn, no matter if you are starting a company, if you are at a job, you want to negotiate for a better pay, you want people to be friends with you. That's also all about selling yourself. So this skill of understanding what people want and how can you create an offer that they cannot refuse is super important, and I learned it through my marketing company. Even as a creator, you don't really learn how to sell. You're just making videos. Companies reach out to you and they sponsor you and you get brand deals. But when you start a business and when you learn to sell is when you really understand what people really value. How can you create a proposition that they would like to have and they would want to agree to? So for example, the best thing that we do is that we understand what is your CAC. My first question to all the founders is, what's your customer acquisition cost? And they've been running ads, they've been out-competed by other competitors, so they name a particular CAC. And then I say that, hey, let me help you get this CAC down by 50% by creating organic content on your YouTube channel. And let me help you do that every single month. And you'll start seeing results, and we can measure all of that. That's the language that they understand. Right? You can start selling them that, hey, I will create videos for you, but that doesn't help. Like, what's the end goal? It is for them to have more revenue, for them to have more sales, for them to have lower customer acquisition cost. So I learned how to do that by setting up my marketing company. The third skill that you should absolutely focus on is content creation. How many of you have posted a LinkedIn post in the last 1 week? Anyone? Raise of hands. All right, some of you have done that. Well, I wrote a book on LinkedIn when I was 19, and it was all about how LinkedIn can be leveraged as a student. In the last 4 or 5 years, I've only seen that to be true and true every single day. So I think that the best thing that you can do, it's not even about getting a job. Some of you would already be in a job, you already be working in your career. But creating content on LinkedIn or Twitter, or if you want to do Instagram, then creating those reels can really set you apart from everyone else. Because it helps you get one thing that most others will not have and can never have. And that is visibility. Visibility gets you everything that you cannot even imagine. I'll give you an example. So I learned Python. It's a programming language that you can learn to build simple programs and apps. I learned Python and I wanted to revise all the concepts. So I just recorded myself talking about the basics of Python, conditionals, loops, functions, object-oriented programming. So I would just record all of that. And I made a series of YouTube videos in 2020. Those videos have like double-digit views, like 20 views, 25, 65 views, 98 views, barely anything. Right? Most of you would be unmotivated to make more videos, considering now we have creators who do tens of millions of views every video. And I made those videos. And then I got a message from Unacademy saying that, hey, we watched that video of yours in which you were talking about coding with Python. We liked how you were explaining all the concepts. Can you now become a teacher on our platform and teach it to all of our kids? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that 20, 30, 40 views can get me a position to work as a teacher? And then here I was in second year of college, being an educator, teaching Python and coding live to school students for a year-long contract. Just that one video became a contract in which I taught for 350 hours live, met, talked, solved doubts of all the students. Was I the best Python educator? Not at all. Was I the best developer? Not at all. But I was visible. And visibility can take you to places that you can't even imagine. And this was just a simple example about that. So create content. What all can you talk about? You can talk about your niche. What is it that you are working in, your career? Talk about the latest news that is out there in the market. Talk about your opinions around that. And just create that content and you will automatically find better opportunities. You will have a better circle of people to interact with. And you will occasionally might even find some brand deals on LinkedIn particularly. All right, that was the fourth. What else? There's one skill that I think all of you should understand, and that is prompt engineering. How many of you use ChatGPT today? See, so many people. We have more people raising hands than people who posted on LinkedIn. See, prompt engineering, I recently have been trying out ChatGPT since it was launched, and I realized that prompt engineering is the most important skill that you can learn today. Right? All these telecom companies like Jio just made Google Gemini free for all the Jio subscribers. Airtel made Perplexity Pro free for all the Airtel subscribers. ChatGPT Go is also going to be free. The thing that will separate you from everyone else who's using these tools is the prompts that you write. Because the better the prompt, the better the output. And so the basic rule of thumb that you all can note down right now is RTC ROS. That's it. If you want to write a prompt, if you want to ask AI to do anything from you, especially ChatGPT, the latest one, the GPT-5, the prompt is RTC ROS. What does it mean? The first R is role. So you give ChatGPT a role. I want you to be a travel planner. I want you to be a meal planner. I want you to be a career specialist. I want you to be a skill teacher for any particular skill that you want to learn. Give it a role. Tell it, how do you want it to act? That's the first thing, the role. The second is the context. Now, context is interesting. The second one is actually the task, sorry. The second one is the task. So you tell it, what do you want it to do? What is the exact scope of the work that you want it to do and execute? The third is the context. This is where you give information about yourself. That, hey, I am a product manager at XYZ company, and I am catering to this particular audience. This is what I expect. And so this tells the LLM what is it that you need to know before you give me the answer. The next step is the reasoning. How do you want it to approach this problem? So you tell it exactly where do you want it to look for answers. Is there a particular study that you want it to focus on? Is there a particular report that you want it to search? Do you want it to only search Reddit or x.com? Or you want it to only search news articles? How do you want it to execute on this problem? You give it that answer. The second last is the output. Output is where you tell it, how do you want the output to look like? Is it a PDF? Are you looking for an Excel file? Are you looking for an image? Are you looking for just a simple table format or a bulleted list? Give it that insight right then and there. And the last one is the stopping condition. So let's say I want to get the latest data on jobs in India and where it is going in the future. I wanted to look at the past 2 years of data and give me that answer. So the stopping condition would be to only look for the latest 2 years data. And when it does that, it will stop searching and give you the output. Let's revise. RTC, ROS. Role, task, context, reasoning, output, and the stopping condition. There you go. So this is pretty much the only 80-20 that you need to know about prompt engineering. Everything else will work very well for you. Right? You can be on any other platform. You can use this particular template and start getting amazing prompts from any of these AI tools. All right. Well, that was the talk. I just shared the best skills that will make you unstoppable. And I hope that this was valuable. Thank you so much. I want you all to be a part of this story that we can click over here. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I request you to kindly stay back for a moment. Madam, please come over and give a memento to him. Well, they say in Kannada, ಬೆಳೆಯುವ ಪೈರು ಮೊಳಕೆಯಲ್ಲೇ. when you're young, you will know what potential you have. I think your parents realized it. And ladies and gentlemen, I think you must all give a huge round of applause and all the very best. May you make many more faces smile. And the best part is he stuck to time. Well, that's another important thing. Nobody had to prompt him that the time is up, but then he stuck to his time, very well prepared. So the main thing is probably the preparation going at the back of the mind. Thank you very much. We now move on to a couple of sessions before we head towards the cultural program. Yes, indeed. The panel discussion now on champions of skills. In fact, not the panel, the stories of each individual will come and tell some more stories. So it's already, Mr. Sharma has instilled a great sense of positivity in the minds of all of us, and more positive nature will be injected to all of us by the champions of skill stories of transformation and triumph. And how to careers for empowerment and opportunity is what they are going to share with us. First of all, I would like to call upon Likith Kumar YP, the prototype modeling bronze medal at the World Skills Competition 2022 Special Edition. He has won the bronze medal, but none of you want to clap. Right? I am wrong. Okay. Likith, where are you? Yeah. Over to you, yes. Sir. I would also like to call upon Nandita Saxena, the Pottery and Confectionery Silver Medal at World Skills Competition 2022 Special Edition. Welcome to you, Nandita. We also have Stephen Harris Ramdev, Graphic Design Technology Medallion of Excellence at World Skills Competition 2022. The sound of the clapping seems to be waning. It has to increase. Karthik Gowda, the bronze medal in mechatronics. Stephen Harris has sent in a message that he'll not be able to come, so Karthik Gowda fills in his place. And then Varun Hanumant Gowda, mechatronics, yes. Medallion of Excellence at World Skills 2017, Abu Dhabi. The sound of the clapping should reach Abu Dhabi. Okay. And finally, the moderator, the Shashidhara Hirematadayan, the skill development specialist and managing director of TechWalk Finesse Consultancy. Well, it will be a difficult session or an interesting session to moderate, I'm sure. And you can see the smile on his face. Over to you, Mr. Shashidhar. Yeah, it's on, sir. It's on.
Good evening, everybody. It has been a wonderful session since morning, and we are celebrating the champions of skills. And just to give you a perspective of what kind of champions they are, all the four have gone through a grueling competition training for more than 2 years in their own skills. And it was more like a rigorous military training which they went through. And it's not just the training, and the competitions were also very rigorous. The competition started probably with 2 hours project, ended up at World Skills, it was almost like 24 hours. So that is the kind of determination they had to go through this competition and become champions. So let's celebrate with the applause to all the 4 champions. And another thing that I have to tell is, this is all because of the state government skill ecosystem which has produced these kind of champions. So again, another round of